Another episode of Coastin alongside Evan Pivnik. This is David Fine, and pleased to be joined by someone that hasn't been on Coastin before, but it feels like he's been a special guest for every one of our episodes just by listening in. He's Chris Ballard, the famous Chris Ballard. He's the voice of the Newfoundland Growlers. Man, this is going to be fun for multiple reasons. But Chris, great to see your shining face, whether we're in Iowa, Glens Falls, New York, or Conception Bay South. How's it going today?
It's good, man. Just happy to be back talking ECHL hockey again after I think we were 608 days between home games in our neck of the woods. So happy to be back. What do you mean by that?
Home games in your neck of the woods. It wasn't the same place the last time you guys played a home game compared to this year.
Yeah, what do you mean? That's the same spot, right? Nah, yeah, different building to kick off the season. But whatever's going on there is above my pay grade. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we know even
though. Exactly. Sorry, Finer. But even though it was, even though it wasn't mile one, it was still a great atmosphere. And I'm sure for your organization as well in Newfoundland, it's just nice to have people out again supporting the team and watching hockey. I mean, for you, just how special is that just to see fans wearing the black and the gold and getting all rowdy up there in St. John's?
Yeah. So, I mean, for anyone who doesn't know the situation, so obviously the Growlers, along with everyone in the North Division, as you guys know, opted out of the last season, the 2021 season. And then when the Growlers were all ready to return, there was some hiccups with our normal home, the former Mile One Center, and now known as the Mary Browns Center. So we were forced to play our first 6 home games at least at a new facility in Conception Bay South, about a half hour away from St. John's. We just had our first 3 games there against you, Piv, and the Adirondack Thunder, and it was great. Yeah, it's a lot smaller. It held just shy of 1,200 fans, but we sold out all 3 games, and the fans really did rally around us, because obviously it had been a long time, and through our Kelly Cup run in 2019, we had really developed a really cool fan base and a really, passionate group of fans here, and they came out in droves for the first Growler game at home since the pandemic had hit. It had been a really long time, and it really was special, when you hear the Ode to Newfoundland played after the national anthems. I mean, that's always cool. We only bust out the Ode for big nights, and I had a little moment in the booth for sure before we got underway on Friday.
Yeah, Chris, you've been part of a couple teams in this league, obviously Brampton, and obviously Newfoundland Growlers, but you're a St. John's guy. Like, you were kind of raised at Mile One Center. That's where you're from. You're a Newfoundlander. You're a Newfoundland. The same way I'm a Jersey guy and Pip's from Long Island. Like, that's you. That's who you are.
He's a Newfoundlander, born and bred, and he'll be one till he dies.
That's how the song goes.
Yep, that is. Heave away, me jollies, heave away as well. One of the best victory songs in all of hockey, for my money. Even when Pip has to listen to it, I'm sure he can still appreciate it.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, the Growlers beat us, but like, damn, that's such a great win song. And just like, oh man, you're stomping along to it, and like, oh, let me write my press release. We got, killed 5-0, but I get to listen to Heave Away for a little bit, so that makes it all right.
Could be worse.
But you're like, this is what it's about for you. Like, this is your hometown. You're broadcasting for your hometown team. Not everyone gets to do that. The hometown team for me would have been like the New Jersey Devils, and who knows, if I'll ever even get to the NHL type stuff. I want to, but who knows? But like, how special is it for you, especially given the circumstances, after all the time waiting, after all this stuff, to now be broadcasting from your hometown team and seeing the community kind of rally behind it?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's super special. And when I got into the business, obviously first calling games in Brampton, at the time, St. John's had an AHL team, the Ice Caps, and they had a guy in the booth for forever, that Brian Rogers, who I had listened to my entire life growing up. Like, he was the soundtrack for professional hockey for me in my neck of the woods, and then getting to work alongside Brian in the booth for a couple of seasons was and all of this for our hometown team was extremely special for me. And we've even got to wear, you know, the old St. John's Maple Leafs jerseys a handful of times. That was the team in St. John's, you know, when I was growing up. So yeah, to be able to come home, and I knew it was fate when they announced the Growlers and the name, and that they had locked down the team on my birthday back in like March of 17, maybe. It was a long time ago. So it was all, I guess it was meant to be. And then being a part of the championship here at home, the first ever championship for a team in our province, I can't lie. That was, probably the most special thing that'll ever happen to me in my career.
Did you find that you lost your Newfoundland accent a little bit when you went down to Brampton for a few years? And did you see it come crawling back once you went back to St. John's and became the voice of the Growlers?
Not really, if I can be honest. Obviously, Newfoundlanders are known for our peculiar accents. Mine, not so much. But I mean, I don't know. I don't think I have a really heavy accent to begin with. I've been in school, you know, outside of the province for a long time. But I do find I lean into it a lot more when you're at home, because you're surrounded by people who can understand it. It's an easier way to communicate. You know, if I'm talking with our staff here, I'm like, oh, how's she getting on? How was your weekend? You know, I can say that and communicate quicker and faster than I can with you guys, because you wouldn't understand me. I would have to talk like a normal person. So, but it is fun to be able to lean into it a little bit more at home. But when I was in Brampton, we had a Newfoundlander on our team, so I got to at least do that a little bit. We had Cody Donaghy. Anyone remember him? Cody Donaghy,
number 18, right?
That's right. Played for Orlando after, and I think he's playing in the Czech somewhere, I believe now. But I always took a little bit of Newfoundland with me, Boz. You know that.
One of the things the Growlers do better than any other team, in my opinion, in this league, is lean into the being from Newfoundland. Like, that's your guys' brand. Like, we're from Newfoundland. Whereas some teams in the league, you couldn't distinguish them from whether they're in, I'm not going to name, you know, you can distinguish them whether they're in Kansas or whether they're in California. It's tough to, you know, but there's a certain pride that comes with it as well. What do you guys do that makes it possible for you guys to lean into the fact that, like, we're from Newfoundland, we're proud to be from Newfoundland? What are some of those things that you guys do?
Yeah, I mean, so for us, for people who may not know where exactly we are, the joke I always make is we're as far east as you can go in North America without getting wet. We are on an island. We're an island of about, I don't know, just shy of maybe 500,000 people. We're isolated. The weather sucks, if I'm allowed to say that. But the people here, this situation that all of our citizens are in is galvanizing, and it brings people together in spite of the weather and people making fun of our accents and all of this. Like, the end result is a people and a fan base that really rallies behind their own. And when it came time for the Growlers to hit the ice in St. John's, and it was under local ownership, a local team with local players on it, Zach O'Brien, Marcus Power, James Melindy, the captain, Adam Party, who had been an NHL player forever, decided to come home and try to close out his career here. And even into this season, we have Nathan Knoll joining the mix, another Newfoundlander, and the fans, like, they eat it up. Fans are so quick to support, their local players, and getting a chance to do that with, Newfoundland and the Newfoundland dog on the crest of the jersey. It doesn't take much for our fans to really rally around our community and our team. It really is something special.
Players come and go throughout, every season, as we know, in the ECHL, and you guys get a lot of help, probably the most from the NHL organization, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then from the Marlies and back down. When you see newer players come to St. John's for the first time and join the organization, how quickly does it take them to really buy into just the pride that the city and the the province as a whole has for the Growlers? Because it has to be pretty special, and maybe some players coming in don't really know what it's all about right away.
No, of course they don't. I mean, it's getting easier now as more time goes on, and I think the program that our coaching staff and the Maple Leafs have set in place has kind of spoken for itself through the first year and a half into 2 years officially that we've been in the ECHL. But it really doesn't take players long, because we do have the local guys that are in the locker room that always seem to pull guys out of their shells and really go out of their way to make guys comfortable in the new surroundings. When James Melindy says, "Come on, boys, we're hopping in, we're going to Signal Hill," no one says no, and they all go along, and they get the tour from the guys that they're playing with, and they get to, and everything was said in downtown St. John. So even if you just step foot outside of the rink, you're in this gorgeous old downtown area that's just rich with history, and guys are curious, and it really hasn't taken much. And I always ask guys early, when I'm interviewing guys for the first time, that they've come to Newfoundland, like, "Hey, what's your experience been like?" And all of them kind of say the same thing, like, "Oh, it's unique. It's not what I expected, but I absolutely love it here." They find something to really grab onto, be it the food or the people or just the vibe in downtown. I know you can both speak to that. And I don't know, it's something special. And I've never had anyone, or never heard anyone, even after the fact, be like, "Yeah, I didn't really dig on my time in Newfoundland." Everyone always seems to have something good to say.
It's crazy going there, and just, again, just how nice everyone is. And it just feels like you're, obviously you're not in the same country, being American now, with us, and it's like being in a whole different world, the way everything is. It's kind of like,
why don't you guys tell me, like, what was your first experiences coming to Newfoundland? Because I don't know that I would really remember what was your OG Newfie moments?
Well, I don't remember a lot of the first time I was there either. So.
Yeah. I think one of the things that stuck out to me the most was just, I think it was the music. I'm a huge music guy, and I love live music. And you go out and you see people of all ages dancing and singing along to these old folk songs.
Yeah.
Either they're, traditional Irish songs or more Newfoundland based songs. And everyone is dancing to it on a Saturday night. They're not listening to the top 40, whatever the DJ's playing. They're listening to these guys, very talented musicians, guys and gals, playing these songs, and people are dancing along and, drinking while they're singing the songs. It's like it's almost something that you'd be at like a movie or something like that, but it goes on in every single bar in St. John's. And that was one of the things that you're blown away by it. It's like, wow, the culture here is fantastic. And you just, you want to grab a beer and start learning the words. A lot of the words are tough to figure out, but once you do, you can sing along to them.
No, exactly. And that's, so in St. John's, we have the infamous George Street. It has more bars per capita than anywhere in North America. And the live music culture here is a real thing. And I know the same way that in the NHL, they have the Vegas hangover. A lot of teams, I think, maybe you guys could speak to that, but teams come in here and they really do indulge in the lifestyle with all this live music and this tiny little street that's packed with 40 something, I think, bars just on top of one another. It's easy to lose yourself in that culture and in that moment, especially after a game on a Saturday night. You leave the rink at 11 p.m. and you got, still 4 or 5 good hours left before it all shuts down. So it's easy to definitely get lost in the moment in downtown St. John's.
How many nights did you spend past 2 a.m. with the Kelly Cup the summer that you won it? How past 2 a.m.? How many nights past 2 a.m.? Just give a little estimate here.
Well, most of them. In the, let's say, the 2 weeks after the Growlers won the Kelly Cup in June of 2019, I mean, every night you were pulled one way, somewhere or another with the group, myself even included. I consider myself a very small part of what the team was able to do in 2019, but everyone was super awesome and bringing us all on board. And one night would be Green Sleeves, another you're at Kelly's Pub, the next you're maybe you're back in the locker room just hanging out there with the cup. But there are a lot of hazy early mornings, let's say, after that Kelly Cup victory.
Did you write down one sec, Pip? Did you write down what your final call was with? Did you write anything down before the final call?
Of course I did. I absolutely had to, which is funny because before I came on, I was refreshing myself on the Coastin vibe you guys have curated here. And I listened back to Shane, the voice of the Fort Wayne Comets, and I was surprised actually when he admitted he wanted a more organic experience for the moment, which is awesome. I love that. But my train of thought was opposite. I said, okay, we're possibly on the cusp of winning the first professional hockey championship in our province's rich hockey history. I said, there's no way I trust myself enough to just do that off the cuff. I wanted it to really sum up everything that it meant to the fans and to the longtime fans of hockey in this province. So I had a few notes scrawled down of kind of points I wanted to hit. I didn't want to be robotic and like read out a call that was, pre-planned, to the T. There was some gray area in there that allowed me to express in the moment. But yeah, I was not about to leave that up to the moment because I would have lost myself.
Yeah, and I asked Shane about this too when Shane was on, because your first instinct is, okay, well, the broadcast is over, let's go celebrate a championship. Yeah. And I remember I was watching the game when you guys won, and there was a point where Raj said to you, and he's just like, Ballard, you deserve this. Go out down there and let's end the broadcast and go party. Were you so happy that he said that, or were you waiting to go on the air for about honestly, another hour?
For me, the moment though, like my part of that whole championship was in the booth. So honestly, I didn't it's because I knew as soon as the broadcast was over, kind of my part of it was over. Albeit the next part was filled with beer and champagne and cigars in the locker room, so I wasn't too upset. But I don't know. It was hard to sign off, but at the same time, I think we went really long after the championship had been won, because and this is another part of my prep that I did, was I had literally everyone who had worked for the organization that year, I had their name, and I'm pretty sure I got everyone's name out there. Even the second doctor who was there once, I made sure that I had everyone on the game crew, and I really wanted to give everyone their moment. And I know for the parents who were watching at home, I wanted to make sure that they knew when their kid had the cup in his arms and all that. I really wanted to take care of everyone as much as I could, I guess, in terms of recognition before I started to indulge myself. But I think we stayed till after a half hour, I think, after the final moment. And then, it was pretty quick to jump downstairs and get into a bottle or two.
Awesome. Well, so continuing the St. John's and George Street talk, you mentioned a couple of the fine establishments there. What is your number? Let's rank your top 3 establishments. Doesn't really have to be on George Street. It could be on Water Street or anything like that. But what are your top 3 spots? Yeah.
This is a really good question. I'm so glad you asked that. I'm not at my current stage of life, let's say, I don't frequent very many places at all, only because the beer's cheaper to just get at the corner store and bring it home. But in my heyday, some of these places don't exist anymore, but it's the answer you're getting. I'm a big Greensleeves guy. That's still there, right in the middle of George Street. Lots of live music, really good wings. Big wing guy. So that's a good spot to go to have a late supper and a couple of jugs of draft and enjoy some world-class live traditional music. So that's one. My go-to place when I was in my heyday was Club One, which was a part of the Sundance complex right there on the corner of George Street. An institution in downtown St. John's. However, it has recently closed amidst the pandemic. So RIP the Sundance. And the Fat Cat Blues Bar was, it's now called the Black Sheep. Yeah. Really good for, less so for the traditional Newfoundland music side of things. But again, there's just so much rich musical talent in this province that the blues and jazz scene, which I've always kind of been drawn towards, really is also a great scene here. And that was always one of my go-to haunts for live music. So those would be my 3: Greensleeves, the new Black Sheep, and RIP Club One and the Sundance.
RIP.
I got one more, and then we'll finish up here. So the Newfoundland sayings, I know everybody does this to you, but I need you to say at least like 2 things to Piv and I that we probably have no idea what Piv probably has a better shot than I do on some of this stuff. But can you give us like 2 or 3 sayings that you just don't hear anyone else, that you might hear not necessarily on a regular basis, but like what it means, and there's no chance that Piv or I probably knows what it means.
Like that's actually pretty tough to just come up with, because a lot of it's just our everyday language. But like a common one that people would use around here, and I would say it if I ran into Zach O'Brien in the morning at the rink, was like, how's she getting on, or how's she cutting? Anything there? Like, that's basically asking, hey, how you doing? How are you this morning?
You put the context in there, so it helped out a little bit.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I mean, that's one that y'all can use. How's she cutting? How's she getting on? If you were asking someone like, oh, like who's your family, or like how do I know you? You can ask who you longs to. Who do you belong to? Is something like, okay, who's your family? Like, who's your father? Like, when people are curious, Newfoundland's a small place, man. If you like, people would like hear my last name Ballard and be like, oh, okay. If they knew a Ballard family in central Newfoundland, odds are probably
who you longs to.
Yeah, who you longs to. Oh, I'm so and so son, whatever. So that's another one. I don't know. I mean, have you guys? I'll ask you this: have you guys been screeched in your travels here? So the screeching in is the ceremony, the unofficial ceremony to welcome you in.
Oh, I have it. Hold on. I have it on my wall.
Or as honorary Newfoundlanders. So it's, you have a drink of terrible rum, and there's like a recitation that is in Newfoundlandese, if you will. So long may your big jib draw. And if you have it there, I've never been screeching, so I never had it.
One sec, I have my thing.
I'll talk for a second. So I said, like, I was supposed to be. I didn't really make it to that part of it. So in spirit, I was, but I wasn't able to. But he is much stronger than I am. So there you go.
So we did it. We did it on our first trip. I think we did it as a staff. So we I think our assistant coach, Pete Deneen's been screeched in. I think Alex, our head coach, Alex Lowe, has been too, because he went when he was with Portland in the AHL as a video coach. So it was myself, our athletic trainer, and our equipment manager, and we went to good old Trapper John's.
That classic spot for that.
We heard it's the place to get screeched in. So we did the whole thing. I kissed the fish. Indeed, I is ye old cock, and long may your big jib draw, the whole thing there. And then last year we took the whole team to Trapper John's after we got there.
Nice. And
we hit up Trapper John's, shout out to Trapper John's. And I think he went on for 35 minutes. The whole backstory. The whole backstory, but I think we screeched in like 25 guys.
Like a Passover service or something.
It was a Seder. It was a very different sort of Seder. But everyone got a certificate afterwards. And I have this in my office on my cork board. And it's going to stay there forever because it's awesome. And I passed by Trapper John's this past weekend. And I totally forgot that it's called Trapper John's Museum and Pub. And that just made me laugh.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever indulged in their museum offerings, but I've definitely had a fair bit of rum.
Yeah, he has some stuff in there. I don't know if it's museum, but there's museum and pub, and he has pubs stuff in there. Museum, but another one of my top spots. I'll give you my top 2 places here.
I'd love to hear
St. John's. I like O'Reilly's a lot. O'Reilly's is a good one, and I think my favorite one is Shamrock City.
Yeah, really? Shamrock. $5 fish and chips on Fridays used to be the big thing. So whenever we would have a Friday home game, Shamrock's pretty much across the street from the former Mile One Center. So that's a good one, and maybe that belongs in my top 3 now that I'm I'm about it.
I just love the vibe in there, like the cobblestone wall, and they have every time I've seen someone play music there, it's awesome. I've seen the Navigators there 3 times. And they're just classic Newfoundland. If we didn't play on Sunday, I was going to do the brunch with Fred Jorgensen, but we played on Sunday, so I couldn't go.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was able to get Flo up and running, so I wasn't able to get you a day off.
Yeah, Ballard, maybe do my job for 3 straight days.
Not bad.
Hey, but you guys made it work, though, man. It all things considered, changing venues and doing all that stuff and that whirlwind of a week that we had, you guys pulled it off, and it was great to see fans there. And shout out to Kenny too. Kenny made everything flow really, like, pun included, flow smoothly. You guys made a press box out of pipe and drape for everyone. Did you have any issues with the riser that you had to sit on?
Not really, man. And all that shout out goes out to the town of Conception Bay South for really, like, their staff were amazing in helping us get everything up and running. And like you said, John and Kenny on my side on the operations end to just pull everything together, because there was no press box there at like 4:00 for a 7 p.m. puck drop. And even though it all came down to the last minute, I mean, Rogers TV here, they were huge in getting us help. Getting us set up as well, like all hands kind of situation. I'm still shocked, honestly, that we were able to pull it off. Plus, selling tickets and trying to appease our season ticket holders and our sponsors, and it was really a Herculean effort to, in like a week, move your entire operation and its infrastructure to a brand new community facility. I'm impressed with the people who did the real work behind the scenes on that one. So kudos to the crew here on this side, absolutely.
And shout out to your bus drivers as well. They were dynamite this weekend, since, usually if we play at mile 1, we just walk right across the street. Now we had to take a bus every single time we went to morning skate or to the game and back. And Chris and Perry, I think, are the guys there at Citywide, and they were absolutely awesome. And I love when Chris answers a phone call, because he has it on speakerphone, and I don't know what he's saying or what the guy's saying on the phone to him, and he listens to good music. We listen to like the Casey Kasem American Top 40 from like 1984, which I guess is a big.
Play that on the radio.
I was gonna say, I guess that's a big thing up there too, which is awesome.
That was the top 40 I grew up listening to on Oz FM or whatever it was. So yeah, that's still a thing, I guess.
Oh yeah,
I miss going up there. Not this year. Eventually we'll get up there. You guys will come here. So.
Oh, it has to happen.
Yeah. So. Chris, been a blast, man. Thanks for hopping on.
Thanks for doing this. Thanks for delaying my commute home. The traffic's gone now. This is perfect.
Definitely. This is
perfect.
Piver, when do you guys go up there next?
We go the first week of March.
Never gets old.
For another 3-3.
Oh,
nice. Yeah, it's like a perfect amount, because we go to Idaho on Monday. So these are like 2 really long trips for us in the span of 3 weeks. And then we just do like the normal, day in, day out trips. And then our next long trip is first week of March back to St. John's, where I'm excited to go. I was hoping we go a couple weeks later, maybe to hit St. Patrick's Day, or
I don't know that you can handle St. Patrick's Day in Newfoundland, Piv. It's pretty much like a national holiday.
I just wanted to go check it out, but or iceberg season. I wanted to check out more of the icebergs. And Iceberg, the beer, one of my favorite beers.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's a good one. It's real crisp. Too expensive for everyday drinking, but nice for a treat.
Yeah, and then I showed up there at your place with the Iceberg beer, and you're like, "What are you doing? It's too expensive." I'm like, "It was pretty cheap if you were in America."
Like, so that was when you
if you're in America,
to my house in the middle of a snowstorm, a typical Newfoundland nor'easter. That you brought that with you.
I got back to the Jag, and there was some inner warmth carrying me that I didn't have before I got there. So there we go.
That and the best pizza in the ECHL, Big Cheese Pizza. Shout out Big Cheese.
Well, one last thing, I fell down basically 4 stairs walking out of your building and crunched my laptop, and because I was holding the pizza and trying not to drop the pizza, and it was icy out, and I just fall, and my head kind of hit the back, but I had my backpack, so I was fine. And I call you, I'm like, hey, I almost just died walking down your stairs, but I'm just fine. No lawsuit coming. I'll be over in 10 minutes. You're like, you sure you want to make it? There's going to be 6 to 8 inches of snow and all, or however many centimeters it was going to be. Not that bad. And anyway, got the iceberg, got the big cheese, and we were all set to go. There we go.
What more do you need out of a night? We post game iceberg and big cheese, man. That's where it's at.
That's all you need. I'm going to miss iceberg until the first week of March. But hey, it's very good. And Ballard, it was very good having you on finally on Coastin. It's been a long time coming. We want to wait for the right time to do it. Now you guys are back home having some fun. And now you got the Worcester Railers coming to town.
Yeah.
So young Cameron.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Cam again. It's been a while.
I had to give him the lowdown of how to travel properly to you guys in this day and age. So if he messes anything up, it's because he didn't listen to me. So just keep that in mind.
Noted. I will tell him to get in touch with you and not me.
No, tell him not to talk to me.
All
I
good,
love
boys.
Cam though.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Ballard, appreciate you, man.
Another episode of Coastin in the books, episode 3 of season 2, S2E3. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Thanks again to everyone at FloHockey for making this possible. And thanks again to everyone for listening and surviving 30 minutes of talk with 3 unsufferable souls. So talk to you in a couple weeks.